No dinosaur showcase today, but what we do have is a bunch of new reveals thanks to the updated dinosaur database. 10 species in total, 4 of them are new confirmations. 3 that I'm pretty happy to see included and, well, 1 more. Let's check out the new species. First up, we've got a fairly obvious inclusion, another one of our movie canon creatures. It is, of course, Dimetrodon, and the juvenile in particular is absolutely adorable, especially when it turns side on there. The eyes are gigantic on this thing, absolutely massive. It's got that tiny reduced sail. This is already one of my absolute favorite juveniles in the game. In terms of the sexual dimorphism, it looks to be fairly relaxed between the two. We've got the male on the right hand side. You can see that the frill is a little bit larger than the female on the left, and I would suggest that the skull and body are maybe a little bit thicker. It's nothing, you know, outrageous or uniquely designed. It's just a bit bigger, a bit bulkier across the board. It's also the male that gets the new pattern in this case. The female with those spots towards the top of the sail is the Evolution 2 pattern, but the one on the right is the new one with this kind of darker colour at the base. It really looks like a burning fire with some coal or something at the bottom. It's pretty cool. Number 2, and one I'm definitely really happy to see return, is Kronosaurus. Unfortunately, completely neglected in yesterday's video, made a bit of a mistake there. Kronosaurus, however, is one of the very best aquatic creatures in the game, in my opinion, so I'm really happy to see it return to Evolution 3. I believe the male here has the repeat pattern with that striping along the back, and the female has more of this speckled kind of effect. It looks a little, and I think this might have been the inspiration, like mussels or mollusks of some form kind of attached to the body of the creature. It even extends there to just in front of the eyes, where it's got this kind of ring effect, whereas the male on the right has these 2 dots just beside the eyes. The baby is once again adorable, flapping its flippers nice and quickly to keep up. A chonk, an absolute rotund cylinder with an adorable little face. In terms of the sexual dimorphism though, there is very little there. I'm struggling a little bit to point anything out here. I suspect the male might be just a little bit thicker in general, but in terms of distinguishing features, there's really nothing to point out on this one. Our third confirmed new species of today is Edmontosaurus. I think an easy prediction to come back. I think Edmontosaurus is one of those classic dinosaurs of the franchise for a lot of us, along with Struthiomimus and Triceratops. So we can see the male and female here. The male on the right hand side with that much brighter coloration. The female is patterned, but it's quite subtle and sort of very built into the skin. It's a much more naturalistic look, where the male has that kind of bright showcase skull, the brighter crest and stuff like that. And we can kind of extend that to the sexually dimorphic features. There's 2 main prominent ones here. Of course, the crest is a lot bigger on the male on the right hand side, 3 to 4 times bigger than the one on the female. And also the spines, those neural spines, those elongated vertebrae along the back of the dinosaur are quite a lot longer on the Edmontosaurus on the right hand side on the male. And the baby is very cute. The juvenile doesn't have that strange scrunkly kind of look that some of the other juvenile hadrosaurids have had. This one is thicker in general. It's got a teeny tiny little crest, a teeny tiny little beak, and you can see how it's just kind of feels like it's covered in this layer of sort of juvenile fat, where those more defined facial features haven't come in quite yet. And our final new species for today, and certainly going to be the most controversial of the new species, but it's Gigantspinosaurus is our returning stegosaurid. And yeah, this will be one of the controversial ones because I don't think it's a dinosaur that's high on many people's lists, but it's worth noting those shoulder spikes are pretty novel. They're pretty unique amongst the stegosaurids compared to some of the other potential stegosaurids that could have returned. Those double-barreled plates are interesting, the big spikes are interesting. I don't think the problem is really Gigantspinosaurus itself in the other games. It's more that we just had too many stegosaurids or too many things that were similar to each other. So, you know, picking one out of those to save is not a bad thing, I don't think. I'm gonna justify this one. I'm okay with Gigant because looking at it here, it's pretty original. I think it depends a lot on whether Kronosaurus makes it into the game because there's a little bit of crossover in terms of the styling there, but Gigant on its own is not a bad dinosaur for sure. I wouldn't say it's a particularly exciting pattern, unfortunately, and I think that's one of my problems with Gigantspinosaurus. I think colour-wise and pattern-wise, it's maybe a little bit uninspired, and I would have liked to see it maybe get a fresh coat of paint because I think it probably needs it, but hey-ho. And there's the juvenile with the tiny little spikes, the tiny little plates, very much what you'd expect. Quite cute, actually, it must be said. So that's it for our new species, 4 new confirmed species, but before we wrap up, we'll quickly fly through the other returning ones that we already knew about. For example, the Dilophosaurus. So you can see we've got the classic Jurassic Park skin on the left hand side there, and unless I'm crazy, this might well be a new skin. I criticized the Dilophosaurus very heavily recently, very heavily, not having a Jurassic Park appropriate skin. There wasn't a skin color combination that perfectly matched the film. Now, I need to see this in different lighting and have a look at it, but I get the feeling from looking at this one on the left-hand side that they might just have done some tweaks to give us a slightly better Jurassic era pattern. I do still think it needs a little bit of a remodel in the jaw, although again, the one on the left is looking okay. It's hard to tell because it keeps moving in the animation and we don't have a proper look at it, but that Dilo on the left-hand side is, for me, the best it's looked in a while. The frill still isn't quite correct. It doesn't quite match Jurassic Park, but it's a step in the right direction at the very least. Archaeopneus also back, one of our more controversial returnees, maybe the most controversial returnee. Very little to talk about here. We've got a new pattern which isn't very exciting to say the least. It looks okay. The juvenile's kind of cute. It just looks like Archaeopneus. It hasn't been remodeled or anything like that. I do wish it was a Struthiomimus, but we'll see how it plays out. I think this would have been a really good opportunity to remodel the dinosaur, separate it much more from the Gallimimus, throw some feathers on it, you know, really individualize it a little bit. Baryonyx is of course also back. We've got a sort of classic Jurassic World skin on that left hand side, and then the right we've got this interesting sort of striped, dappled sort of pattern that goes along. Very Indoraptor looking actually, that pattern on the right hand side. The juvenile is once again very cute. It is essentially a very small Baryonyx. Morphologically, it's very similar to its parents, but it's kind of adorable in that it does look like it's just a shrunk down Baryonyx. In terms of sexual dimorphism, there's very little to point out between the two here. The male on the right does look a little bit bulkier maybe, but I think it has maybe just been scaled up a tiny bit, and that will be where it ends. Pachycephalosaurus was confirmed fairly recently, and now we've got visual confirmation once again thanks to this. Again, not much to talk about that we haven't talked about fairly recently. The male is bigger and has a sort of more prominently tall crest. I don't think it's just been scaled up, but it's been heightened a little bit as well. Our penultimate returnee is Stegoceratops. Now, we'd kind of soft confirmed this one before, so I guess we can say Stegoceratops is now properly confirmed, and that would suggest, again, all the hybrids are coming back. I don't like the Stegoceratops. I've never liked the Stegoceratops. I have nothing to say about Stegoceratops. It's got a nice colour, it's got a nice pattern, the design is terrible, always has been. Moving on. Finally to Thanatos Draken. Again, one we've seen plenty of times before. This is of course reappearing thanks to the deluxe edition. The juvenile once again very cute. The male with a slightly bigger crest there, but not much else to talk about, just a bit larger across the board. And some fairly subtle, nice patterning actually, very naturalistic looking pattern there. You see the male's got a little bit more colour across the beak with that striping and such as well. So that is all 10. I've added them to the now fixed dinosaur species list. This was a little bit messy yesterday, I do apologise. I was missing a handful of things. So I've tidied it all up. We are up to 65 confirmed species. That means there is only 21 slots left in the game. Even tighter than I thought it was yesterday. The creatures in yellow are newly confirmed, so Dimetrodon, Edmontosaurus, and Gigantspinosaurus in our dinosaurs. Dimetrodon's not a dinosaur, but, you know, give me this one. And of course, Kronosaurus in our aquatics. If it's teal in the list, that means it was already confirmed, but, you know, it's appeared in today's video. I just wanted to highlight those ones as well. So those are your 10 species of today's dinosaur database, and of course, our 4 brand new ones. Haven't included the info panels on this video because people will read far too much into them, and they're the same as the last game, and they don't mean anything, so we're going to ignore those. Good stuff. Let me know which of the 4 new arrivals you're most excited about. I'll say I'm not sad about any of them. Gigant is definitely going to be the most controversial, but I don't think it's a bad choice. It does unfortunately probably spell doom for the likes of Huiyangosaurus, who I will miss deeply because I love it, but it is what it is. Either way, that's it from me. Thank you very much for joining me. Throw me a like if you enjoyed the video. Stick around for lots more Evolution 3 news, I'm sure, and come back tomorrow for something very cool in the Jurassic World universe. Until then, thanks for joining me. Cheers much as always. Bye-bye.